For Leanne and Kayla, whenever you're ready.
I'm not sitting yet. I lied. All right, should I go?
Yes, ma'am. Anytime you're ready.
Mrs. Benson,
Yes?
could you come in for a minute, Mrs. Benson?
Well, I have my audition. I should leave in about 15 minutes. I don't know New York and I get lost all the time.
Don't worry. I'll see that you get on time. I thought you and I might have a little talk. You know, just girls together. Please sit down. Would you like a cup of coffee?
No,
Tea?
thank you. But if that apple is still there.
I'm sure it is.
Where's Dawn?
Shopping. You must be so careful to wash fruits and vegetables, you know. They spray all those insecticides on everything now. I'm not at all sure that bugs aren't less harmful. I like apples to be nice and shiny.
This reminds me of something. What is it?
I have no idea.
You handing me the apple, nice and shiny. Oh, I know. Snow White. Remember when the witch brought her that poisoned apple? Oh, Miss Baker, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that the way it sounded. I know you're not a witch.
Of course not. And I know you're not Snow White.
I may have to wait hours before I read. I'll probably starve to death before their eyes.
You're going to get that part, you know.
Makes you so sure.
Well, you're a very pretty girl. And that's what they want in theater, isn't it?
Today you have to have more than a pretty face. Anyway, I'm not really pretty. I think I'm interesting looking. And in certain lights I can look sort of lovely, but I'm not pretty.
Nonsense. You're extremely pretty.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I've got beady little eyes like a bird and a figure like a pogo stick. Well, aren't you going to deny you said that?
How can I, dear? Obviously, you heard it.
There are plenty of true things you can put me down with. You don't have to put me down with lies.
You know what I like about you?
Nothing.
Oh, yes. I like your honesty. You're really quiet, and you're really a quite worldly young woman, aren't you, Miss Benson?
I suppose I am. I wish you wouldn't call me Miss Benson.
Isn't that your name, Miss Benson?
But you don't say it as though you mean it.
I'm sorry. Why don't I call you Jill? That's more friendly. And I'll try to say it as if I mean it. Now, Jill. I was interested in seeing what you and Donnie might have in common. He likes you very much.
And I like him very much. He may very well be the most beautiful person I've ever met. Just imagine going through life never seeing anything. Not a painting or a flower or even a Christmas card. I don't want to die, but John wants to live. I mean, really live. And he can't even kid about it. He's fantastic.
Then you would want what's best for him, wouldn't you?
Now we're getting to it, aren't we? Like maybe I should tell him to go home with you. Is that it?
Donnie was happy at home until Linda Fletcher filled him with ideas about a place of his own.
Maybe you just want to believe that he can only be happy with you, Miss Baker. Well, there are none so blind as those who will not see. There, I can quote Dylan Thomas and a little Donnie Dart.
You constantly astonish me.
Well, we women of the world do that.
Funny how like Linda you are. Donnie is certainly consistent with his girls.
Why do you call him Donnie?
It's his name. Don't I say it as though I mean it?
He hates being called Donnie.
He never mentions it.
Of course he has. You just didn't listen. There are no one so deaf as those who will not hear. You could make up a lot of those, couldn't you? There are none so lame as those who will not walk, none so thin as those who will not eat.
Do you think it's a good idea for Donnie to live down here alone?
I think it's a good idea for Don to live wherever he wants to, and he's not alone. I'm going to.
For how long? Have you got a lease on the apartment?
No,
So you can leave tomorrow if you felt like it.
that's right.
You couldn't sustain a marriage for more than 6 days, could you?
My marriage doesn't concern me.
It didn't concern you much either, did it?
Yes, it did.
Have you thought about what marriage to a blind boy might be like? you've seen Donnie at his best, in his room, which he's memorized. And he's memorized how many steps to the drugstore and to the
Delicatessen.
delicatessen. But take him out of his room or off the street and he's lost. He panics. Donnie needs someone who will stay with him, and not just for 6 days.
You can stop worrying, Miss Baker. Nothing serious will develop between Don and me. I'm not built that way.
But Donnie is built like that.
Oh, please, we're just having kicks.
Kicks? That's how it all started with Linda, just kicks. But Donnie fell in love with her, and he'll fall in love with you. Then what happens?
I don't know.
Then don't let it go that far. Stop now before you hurt him.
What about you? Aren't you hurting him?
I can't. I can only irritate him. You can hurt him. The longer you stay, the harder it will be for him when you leave. Let him come with me, and you go have your kicks with someone who won't feel the same after you've gone.
I'm not so sure you can't hurt him. Maybe more than anybody, I think you deserve all the credit you can get for turning out a pretty marvelous guy. But bringing up a son, even a blind one, isn't a lifetime occupation. Now the more you help him, the more you hurt him. It was Linda Fletcher, not you, who gave him the thing he needed most, confidence in himself. You're always dwelling on the negative, always what he needs, never what he wants. Always what he can't do, never what he can do. What about his music? Have you ever heard the song he wrote? I'll bet you didn't even know he could write songs. You're probably dead right about me. I'm not the ideal girl for Don, but I know one thing, neither are you. And if I'm going to tell anyone to go home, it'll be you, Miss Baker. You go home.
Good job. All right, come on out, Kayla, have a seat. And why don't you guys talk about what you did? I noticed some taking, I noticed giving, I noticed a lot of sharing, and I noticed a lot of switching in levels. So why don't you guys talk about what you did?
Yeah, we switch in levels a lot because I feel like the power transferred back and forth like a ton in this, and it was kind of hard to do. But and we shared a lot because I feel like a lot of it was kind of like a mutual felt conversation. Especially in the middle of it, but not towards the end. Towards the end, I feel like Jill had the power because she was it started to get kind of angry, and so that's towards the end we were sitting up and standing down a lot because power was shifting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also towards the end why she exited the stage because she had the last line and kind of got her last words in. So.
Excellent. Kayla, what do you have to say?
I think Jill kind of gets upset because she feels like Miss Baker is accusing her of playing him along when she's really not. She's just trying to be a friend.
There's a lot of miscommunication.
Mm-hmm.
And
I feel like that's we both feel like that's kind of why level shifted so much.
We both
because
thought
there was
that we were getting
miscommunication, so it's kind of went along with it.
Oh, I get you on that. Kayla, at one point you gave the scene to Leanne. Can you talk about why you did that at that point? When Leanne was upstage of you and you turned around to face her.
Well, I was
what line was that?
Oh, I didn't write down the line. I just wrote down that Kayla was the one who did it. Kayla gave.
I don't know. It might have just been to switch the power to me because there was a lot of sitting and standing, so we probably wanted to break away from that because it gets kind of boring after a while. So she gave the scene to me because you know what I mean.
Well, when it happened, it seemed like a good choice. I'm just wondering why you made that choice. I'm not going to make an assumption about why you made that choice.
So that we didn't have to sit and stand, just to break the pattern.
Well, talk about that point and what's going on in the text, or do you not know when you did that because you didn't do it on purpose?
I didn't do it on purpose.
Okay, thank you for your honesty. Okay, you talked about sharing. You talked about the levels. Something that I noticed, you guys, was that Leanne had 2 level shifts where she took the power, and Kayla had 5. Those of you who've done that scene, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Really?
that Jill would have
Really?
No.
more
Jill,
taking
like, I
of the
feel-
power?
I feel like Jill had should like have the most power at the end.
Yeah, like I feel like she does because like she like gets defensive. Like she wants to defend herself, so she like takes some power from this.
But like the mom should have like
Yeah, Mrs.
most of it.
Mrs. Baker should have been for the majority of the time. But she's like very like power heavy like character. Like she has like a lot of presence.
Very angry.
So I thought it was an interesting thing to see Kayla take the power through levels, like where Leanne would sit down and Kayla would stand up, or Kayla would be standing there sharing and then Leanne would sit down. In both of those situations, Kayla would have to be in the power position, and she was up 5, and Leanne was only up 2, where she intentionally got up and took the power. Maybe I didn't write down enough, I don't know. But I thought that was interesting. Thank you very much, ladies. Okay.